Before we get started, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications whenever we share a video. This past week, as usual, we saw lots of interesting Apple news and just tech news in general. But of course, before we get started on all of that, I do want to let everyone know some of the videos that we released this past week. One of them included the best iOS 14 features that you definitely need to know before you install the new public beta, or if you're waiting until this fall for the official release. You might as well just get caught up on some of the new features that you can expect to see. And also, if you're in the market for a few new Mac apps, go check out the top apps for the month by clicking the card in the upper right corner. If you're a verified user on Twitter, well, this past week might have been a bit scary for some of you out there, including Apple, which had its own Twitter account breached by Bitcoin scammers, who also hacked the accounts of Tesla CEO Elon Musk, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, Microsoft CEO Bill Gates, and more. Of course, that tweet that was on Apple's account was obviously deleted, but what is important to know is that Apple doesn't primarily use its Twitter account for anything aside from sending out reminders for upcoming events or advertisements, and so it's pretty obvious that something wasn't right when we saw a tweet about Bitcoin. But thankfully, everything again has been restored and verified users have gained control of their accounts. But the real interesting development to the story is that it appears two alleged hackers paid a Twitter employee in order to gain access to compromised accounts by using an internal tool. This tool apparently allows staff to change the email address associated with accounts, and it's this ability that allowed the security breach to take place in the first place. Even having a strong password and two-factor authentication wouldn't really help you from a hacker gaining access to an internal tool. But again, thankfully, everything was figured out and fixed relatively quickly, but it still didn't stop hackers from getting over $100,000 from users who fell for the apparent scam. Another interesting story to come out this week was that Apple in the second quarter of 2020 paid Samsung approximately $950 million for not meeting OLED panel purchase goals established in the agreements between the two companies. Samsung last week shared guidance on revenue and operating profit from the second quarter of 2020, which included a one-time gain related to its display business. The one-time payment is believed to be from Apple, caused by Apple purchasing fewer than expected OLED panels for smartphones during the second quarter of the year. The payment suggests that Apple did not meet projected iPhone sales and did not order the number of OLED panels from Samsung that it expected to need, requiring Apple to compensate Samsung. For those who are really excited about Apple's ARM-based Macs, the 13-inch MacBook Pro and MacBook Air that's expected to have Apple Silicon could be shipping by the end of 2020, according to a new report by DigiTimes. Apple did say an ARM Mac was going to be coming later this year, but didn't specify which Mac specifically it would have been. So if you're looking to pick up a new MacBook Pro or MacBook Air later this year, it might be a good idea to wait, because you could be one of the first ones to pick up a MacBook Pro or Air with Apple's own ARM-based chips inside. And starting off our quick headlines section, in honor of World Emoji Day, Apple shared a preview of upcoming 2020 emojis that will be added to iPhones, iPads, and Macs. Some new emojis include a ninja, a coin, bubble tea, pinched fingers, a pair of lungs, and much more. The update also features 55 gender and skin tone variants, along with new gender-inclusive emojis that can be used as an alternative to gendered versions, such as person with veil and person with tuxedo rather than the current woman and man options. Apple also officially released its new feature, Audio Stories, for Apple News. Audio Stories include audio versions of the best stories from Apple News. So it's a daily audio news roundup created by Apple News editors and curated local news collections launching in 5 cities and regions if you're an Apple News Plus subscriber. So if you are a subscriber and have updated to the latest 13.6 update, you can actually access Audio Stories right now by tapping the Audio tab at the bottom navigation bar. Speaking of subscriptions, NBC officially launched its new streaming service, Peacock, adding yet another option to the already massive list of growing streaming platforms. The service features NBC shows such as 30 Rock, Cheers, Downton Abbey, and Saturday Night Live, with live sporting events to include 4 exclusive English Premier League matches on July 15th, as well as coverage of the US Open Championship. Peacock will also be the streaming home for The Office once its contract is up with Netflix in 2021, so you might want to get acquainted with Peacock now if you are a diehard Office fan and can't go a day without watching it. Personally, I would keep an eye out for the complete series to go on sale from Apple like it did a few years ago, which I purchased the entire series for a ridiculous $30, so just something to keep in mind if you're a massive Office fan. And that's it. These are our stories for the week, our top headlines. Be sure to let us know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on some of the stories, or if you have a bit of news that you want to share yourself, again, let us know in the comments down below. This has been Dan with MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.